Welcome back to Broken Bobby's transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about Corcoran Prison and the Gladiator Fights of the late 80s and early 90s. Corcoran opened in 1989 as part of prison expansion that was going on at that time to create more maximum security prisons. And the prison system blew up in that time. Between 89 and 94, the guards shot 7 unarmed prisoners, and we will get into exactly how that happened, rather. So if you are new to the channel, subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment, and share this video. It really helps us to grow, and we've been growing well. Also, you can become a member of the channel. Hit the join button and check out the different levels of membership, and there will be exclusive content and possibly some giveaways with that. So check that out. So when they opened Corcoran, at about the same time they opened Pelican Bay, and they did what was called the security housing units. I think Tehachapi may have already had one prior to that. I'm not sure, but that was another yard that had these secure housing units. And what they did with these was they took all the gang leaders and validated them. And I'm referring to the big four when I'm talking about this. So what they did was they had like a point system to validate these guys and their associates. And once you got to a certain number of points, you would be sent to one of these secure housing unit yards, such as Corcoran, for an indeterminate S.H.U. And basically that means that you were going to be there either until you snitched, you paroled, or you died. Period. They use this as a tool to get a lot of people to tell and get themselves out of there. But in the process of this, they had the gladiator fights in Corcoran, and there were trials for 6 guards involving this. There was an unusual amount of fights that occurred while these 6 guards were working, which include sergeants and other guards. I'll put something up. If you want, you can pause it and you can see their names and their ranks and all that stuff. So what they would do was, as I understand it, when they would call for yard, and they were group yards at this point, it was a concrete box basically that they went out onto, and they would put the different gang rivals on the same yard, which would cause them to fight. You know, they'd be shook down and checked for weapons and everything, so there were no weapons involved. But basically what it came down to was either way you were going to lose, because if you won the fight, then they shot you. So, you know, messed up situation all the way around. So they would announce that they were going to run yard, and what you did was if you turn on the light in your cell, then that meant you wanted yard, and they would get you guys all out there. And a lot of times it was the North and the South that would be fighting, but there were other group factions, including the whites and the blacks, that would fight out there as well. And eventually there were 2 whistleblowers who seen enough, basically, and they called the feds, I guess, and they blew the whistle basically and said that this stuff was going on. So the FBI came in and checked everything out, and they ended up putting charges on these 6 officers. Now, there were 84 fights that occurred in 5.5 months under their watch, just their watch, these 6 officers. So they were put on trial in the Central Valley, and I'm going to put up another image for you of all the prisons in the Central Valley. Like I said, that area exploded during this time. So there were a ton of prisons up there. And when they brought these guys to trial, in that Central Valley area, pretty much everybody up there is either a farm worker, they're somehow involved in law enforcement, or they work at the prisons. So finding an impartial jury was really difficult, according to some of the reports that I read. Some of the jurors were married to a prison guard, a retired prison guard, somebody that worked in a county jail, these types of people. So they sympathized with the correctional officers in these situations. And on June the 8th, all the guards were acquitted. No charges. They said they were doing their job. And, there was video and all kinds of stuff that was used as evidence of these gladiator fights. And, like I said, this went on from 1989 to 1994. But during that 5.5 month period, it was really, really going on. So something to keep in mind now, 84 fights in 5.5 months probably don't sound like that much. But sometimes, when you're in the S.H.U, like you might get yard once a week. So, there's different yards that run different cell blocks. So obviously it's not like the yard isn't going to be used on any particular day, but like you don't get out that much. So that's a lot of fights. And ultimately what they did was they transferred all 6 of these guards to other institutions. The 2 whistleblowers would end up going out on a stress-related leave. And I don't know if they ended up on a stress-related retirement or how that worked, but it sounds like none of them came back to the institution. So, this was just a really screwed up situation. And it sounded like the guards were getting their rocks off watching these guys fight and then ultimately shooting them. And, that's the way prison was. And honestly, I believe it still is. Because if you look at what's going on today with the Bulldogs trying to be integrated and some of these other SNY groups trying to be integrated onto mainline prisons, it's really not that much different, except people aren't really getting shot at this point. But, that video, I think it was from Salinas Valley, where they put 10 Bulldogs out on the mainline yard and the whole yard went after them. It's treacherous. And, it's more of the same happening. And, these gladiator fights were 25 years ago. So that is a long time ago, but not much. The more it changes, the more it stays the same, I guess. So just something to think about. If you are new to sobriety, welcome. I believe in you. You definitely can do this. If I did it, you can do it as well. So one day at a time is all you can do. Family, fitness, and freedom are the things that help me to get to the point I'm at today, and they can help you as well. You just got to get your program tight and find things to do to keep yourself busy so that you're not out there using, basically. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thanks again, everybody. We just reached 1,000 subscribers, so really appreciate that. Like I said, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Share the video to somebody that may enjoy this sort of content. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that whenever I drop a new video, you will be informed. Also, take a look at the memberships. Hit that join button and see what is available. There's going to be some exclusive content coming out for members only, so be on the lookout for that as well. Don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing.